listening to an audio article by the Common Constitutionalist. Today's article is entitled, Chicago is a Gangbanger's Paradise. The Chicago Tribune reported that a man, quote, who lives on the west side of Union Avenue, unquote, in Chicago was awakened by gunfire. It was around 2 a.m. When, along with what he described as 7 or 8 gunshots, he also heard doors slamming and the screeching of tires. What he heard was the attempted murder of a 31-year-old female trying to escape a situation in her GMC Yukon. She was shot in the head as she tried to speed away. The woman was taken to University of Chicago Medical Center, where she was in critical condition Wednesday morning. Oh, you must have thought I was reporting on one of the 74 weekend shootings in the Windy City this past weekend. No, this was one of the additional 16 shootings, including 7 more murders committed from Monday to Wednesday, making a 5-day total of 90 shootings and 19 murders. As Maureen O'Hara said to John Wayne in the classic western McClintock, quote, "That's gotta be some kind of record," unquote. Well, it may not be a record, but I'll bet it's close. And it was the most violent weekend in the city in 2 years. To solve this latest crisis of gun violence, Police Chief Eddie Johnson added an additional 430 officers to patrol just 5 city districts on the south and west sides of the city. Quote, "Those numbers will increase to 600 by the weekend," unquote, he said. And this is supposed to solve what? Fact is, it won't solve anything beyond a possibly temporary tamp-down of the shooting rampages. And in order to increase the manpower, cops have had their hours extended and their vacations cut. How long can they keep this up, working the cops to death? These are not office workers being told to work overtime typing away at a computer terminal. These officers already put their lives on the line patrolling the Chicago war zones. Now the city administrators, who will never be in harm's way, are demanding they do more, working longer hours in high-stress environments. So what is happening in Chicago? Well, to quote the man who was awakened by gunfire, quote, "I knew this was going to happen," quote. He said, quote, he had felt the violence coming since others started selling drugs on the block about a month ago, unquote. And where there is a free flow of drugs, there are heavily armed gangs controlling that flow. And where there are gangs, there are turf wars. This is the result of an ever-expanding gang-related turf wars. And this is the result of decades of liberal policy and leftist mismanagement of a once great city. It is the result of generations of families where the government stepped in to replace the father. It is the result of generations of welfare and free everything, leading to a lack of accountability and self-worth. Children grow up with no discipline, nothing they can aspire to, no light at the end of the tunnel. All the while, politicians and race pimps fill their hearts with hate and their heads with every reason why they can't achieve the American dream. And that reason is always the same. It's someone else's fault. So I ask again, what is the temporary increase of police going to accomplish? Answer, nothing. And it's because of leftism. Liberals don't know what to do other than to give away other people's stuff. They are at their core community agitators. Leftists are effective at getting the people riled up and blaming others, but they have no idea how to govern. Combine that ineptitude with a wanton lust for power and you get Chicago, or Baltimore, or San Francisco, etc., etc. Frankly, it's a testament to the Americans living in these cities that they aren't yet in complete shambles. These city leaders spend their time railing against the president for his immigration policy, wanting to build a border wall, hoping the people will not finally figure out that those very same policies would drastically reduce the free flow of drugs into their communities, thus mitigating the gang violence. The increased police presence is intended to accomplish exactly one thing: get Rahm Emanuel's butt out of the fire just long enough to be reelected 10 months from now. They know all they have to do to get themselves off the front pages is crack down until the weather cools. And then, unlike school shootings, which sadly are relatively minor compared to this, all will be swept under the rug until next summer when it starts all over again. Thank you for listening.